Polls still are open for the midterm elections. While many people are out today, many voters cast their ballots early in person and through the mail.
We are seeing an increase in voter interest, but how does this turnout compare to previous midterm elections? Philip Townsend opens the 13 News Now vault to find out.
According to the Virginia Department of Elections, around 950,000 people have voted absentee for the 2022 midterms. Voter interest is spiking, so we wanted to take a look back at some of the biggest midterm turnouts in recent decades, using the percentage of total registered voters voting as our criteria. Just as a control, about 45% of voters usually turn out for midterms in Virginia. Coming in at number 3, we don't have to go very far back, 2018. 59.5% of registered voters filled out a ballot that year. And one of the main drivers, like this year's midterm, the 2nd Congressional District. It was a heated race featuring Republican incumbent Scott Taylor and Democrat Elaine Luria, who would win the seat with 51% of the votes. Coming in at number 2, back to the 80s, the 1989 midterms brought in 66.5% of registered voters. It was a history-making gubernatorial election, too, for a couple of reasons. One of the closest elections in Virginia history, and Democrat Doug Wilder became the first African-American governor in the country when he topped Republican Marshall Coleman with 50.1% of the vote. Finally, the top spot goes to the 1994 midterm. Topping some presidential elections, 69.3% of voters went to the polls that year. A highly publicized battle in a Virginia Senate race brought them there. Democrat incumbent Chuck Robb barely defeating Republican Oliver North that year, following one of the tightest races in the country. For 13 News Now, I'm Philip Townsend.